What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dugout Coalition. Welcome back. We are talking about summer ball today in all aspects, from the player's standpoint, from the coach's standpoint, why it's important, why it's maybe not important for some guys to go out there, maybe a sneak peek into this summer where it's going to be an absolutely stacked summer, barring that everything goes through and people are still allowed to play, teams are still allowed to run their operations out there. But it's a really interesting topic just for me being an athlete in summer ball. I got to play 3 different summers in 2 different places. Some of the best experiences of my life personally with the host families. Want to give a shout out to anybody who's a host family. God bless you for opening in your home for an 18 to 22-year-old for a summer from a college who's going out to summer ball to play. It's incredible what you guys are doing out there. And for the athletes and coaches out there, it's a huge, highly recommend going out and playing summer ball from my standpoint because I really enjoy it. But Wiss, let's get into it, man. I know you wanted to kick this off and you've got some good insights on this. So I'll go ahead and let you take the reins.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I just thought it'd be an interesting topic to go over just because all of us obviously have had a time in summer ball and we've had summers where we've had great experiences. We've had summers where we had bumpy roads. And I think we can both speak to the playing and the coaching side of it. And so I just wanted to get into that a little bit. But as far as experiences goes, obviously I had a few with you and Ray Mack and B Shaw in that sense, but playing summer ball obviously for me was a great experience. To be the hometown kid, what a special treat that was for me. And honestly, I think the experiences that you get in summer baseball are completely different from that what you get at your school or your 4-year or your junior college, wherever that may be, in a sense that you're really building different relationships from people that you never would have otherwise. I think that's a very, very important piece as far as summer ball goes, just because you're going to meet kids from across the country. You're going to see kids from different backgrounds. You're going to see kids from different programs. And that for me was a big, big piece. And allowing myself to be the small town kid from Klamath Falls who plays at a small Division II in Oregon that no one's ever heard of before, now gets to toe it up against guys from UCLA, from UNR, from Pac-12, from SEC schools, and to show that my guys that are on 10-day contracts, which is something I'm sure that we'll get into a little bit, and who are full-time guys. I think the mesh of relationships and different philosophies that kids come from develops them in a way that you can't really get at a 4-year, honestly, orally. So I think starting off from there and just picking your guys' brain as far as what your experiences were as a player, I think is a good spot to start, and then we can build up from there. Like I said, I know mine were absolutely amazing. We can touch more on the host family piece a little bit later, but the summer ball thing, it does not happen without those families. That's the bottom line. And every single GM and owner of all of these teams will tell you that throughout the country, that it just simply does not work without those people. And we even got a little taste of it down here at Umpqua this year, where we had nowhere for our people to stay, and we had host families reach out to us and honestly save our program. So thank you to those families, and obviously we'll get a little more into that. But I want to hear your guys' experiences and kind of how they developed you as a player and as a person.
Yeah, feel free, Cam. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, just to jump off from what Wiss had just said, getting to experience summer ball as a player was the first time that I was exposed to how different the game is approached geographically. So, for example, getting to spend some time up in Canada and New England in summer ball, where there's such a big hockey culture, it was a lot tougher. There was a lot more of a you get a job done versus you don't get a job done, rather than, growing up in Southern California, the game's taught so technically. There's so many amazing coaches that can break things down so thoroughly that sometimes you get a little bit away from the competitive side of things. So getting to, interact with some kids from Canada, from Massachusetts, from a lot of these cold weather states that, potentially really have to focus on some other cultural things that go into the game. It was really enlightening and just something that I had never really been exposed to.
I think you bring up a really good point, Cam, of getting the ability to, well, both of you guys, Whistler one with the relationships, right? Life's all about relationships. We're all here together because of the relationships we built. through baseball, through college, through sports, through summer ball with UWIS and with some of the other guys. And then Cam, you bring up the point of getting to play with people from different backgrounds and from different areas. Like when you go out to the Cape Cod League, there's a guy from San Francisco, there's a guy from Alabama, there's a guy from Florida, there's a guy from Vermont, and there's maybe a guy from out of the country. Like up in Canada, there's multiple Canadians. And same with some of these other leagues. You get people from all over. Alaskan League. There's so many cool leagues, and they're so special. There's so much history in them. I think that's the beauty of it. And I think if you're somebody who's out there who's looking to prepare yourself for professional baseball, there's no better place to go than play summer ball, right? You go play a full college season, and guess what? When you get drafted, you go right into a full season in the summer anyway. So you might as well prepare yourself. Wilkins, what do you got for me?
Yeah, so a little bit about my first experience with summer ball. So I went to a junior college to start my college career, and I did pretty well my freshman year in junior college. I ended up going to the West Coast League in Cowlitz, and that's where I kind of got to, compare myself against other players, where I stack up. And hey, don't be booing that. Don't be booing that, DZ. Don't be doing that.
Hey, Wilkes, if there was a thumbs down button on this reactions, like I can give the cool thumbs up, I can give you an applause. These 9-year-olds were teaching me the rings, but if there was a down arrow, man, that's getting doubled, man.
No, man, I know, I understand, but I got to really see where I stacked up against, other Division I players. UC Riverside, Oregon State, UCLA. And it was an eye opener for me. I ended up getting shelled in the beginning, in the West Coast League, but I started to figure it out towards the end. And the one experience that I really got from that is it helped me grow as a person, because that was my first time where I was away from my family, and I had no idea, how to do things on my own. It was a weird kind of deal. You're with the host family, and can you be in the kitchen, can you go and get food? It was just a little awkward for me at first, but it was a really good experience. I mean, you get to play with other guys, you get to learn from different coaches, you get to visit different parts of the country, going to Oregon, going to Canada. I mean, it was an awesome experience, and I think it really helped me grow as a person, and making that transition easier, going to the University of Nevada a couple of years later, and really understanding of how to live on my own. So that's one thing that I really took away from summer ball.
Yeah, you mentioned that aspect of growing, right? There's so much growth that you can have by going out there and pushing yourself. I remember buddies that played at some universities, and I grew up with them in high school, and they never pushed themselves to go out and play summer ball. Like one had an opportunity to go to the Cape Cod League and said, no. I'm like, what? I mean, what? Are you serious? Like, I'm dropping everything and I'm going, I don't care if mom and dad have the dopest family vacation plan in the world. Like, see you, smell you, I'm out of here. But you mentioned that aspect of just being able to push yourself. Now, I know Ray and Shaw, you guys have some interesting experiences in summer ball. I think Shaw, you threw left-handed one, and welcome to the podcast, and welcome Nicole in the background. She's always killing it. Love her. But
yeah,
Ray,
she brought me some chocolate chip cookies. So
dude,
we're good to go.
Morning cookies, man. Post meeting, like ready to go. Load it up.
Let's go, man.
I'm so jealous. Why'd you have to drop that in there? Come on, man.
I knew it'd make you jealous, Doug.
Respect. But Ray, go ahead and start, and then we'll head to Shaw with your guys' experiences. Ray, I know you had almost an emotional experience out there, but I want you to kind of share your story with summer ball and how you feel about it.
Yeah, summer ball's always been something that's been awesome to me. I feel like as a fringe, I guess, college player, like that was my chance to kind of get out and play loose. And mine was a little different too. Like I had always had a summer job back home. I knew I needed to work. So I stayed around winters with the Solano Bluebirds, Solano Mudcats, smaller leagues. And then I wasn't really getting pushed to go out. Like I was the backup at Nevada. So it wasn't like, hey, let's get this guy out to the Northwoods. It was, hey, where can we get this guy a spot to play? Maybe a temp contract or whatever. And it was you actually that reached out to Coach Nielsen. And that was how I ended up getting a job or a spot to play for the Rogues that summer, that last summer. And mine was, I had played for 4 years already. And I knew kind of with the coaching change in Nevada with Coach Johnson coming in and my career kind of coming close to an end there, I wanted to end on my terms. I wanted to go out and just have a summer where I could play loose, play for me for once, not feel pressured to have to perform to get in the lineup and whatnot. Played with Wiss. You were, I think you might have been in the Northwoods at that time when I was out there. Played with Wiss and Shaw, and I think Wilkins. That's when you were at Cowlitz, so it's kind of full circle where that all worked out. But it was cool. It was really awesome, man. Like the host family situation was great. The players that were on that team were awesome. Everyone was kind of there just to improve. Some of the best dudes I've ever met, and we can get into Spencer Smith and guys like that here in a little bit. But yeah, no, it was a great experience for me. I'm very fortunate. I ended up being selected as an alternate for the All-Star game, and someone fell through, so I ended up heading up and playing in that thing, and it was a great time for me. One of my favorite summers I've ever been a part of, for sure. I think I developed a lot as a player and a person that summer, and I felt like I was able to leave my career on my terms, which is fantastic.
Really all you can ask for too at the end, like leave on your terms, right? And you got to go out there and it's almost like your real season. You grinded all year, and we've got into it on earlier podcasts and episodes where you were out there pushing Hunt at shortstop when he's a freshman coming in, knowing that you're probably not going to play and you're still a couple years older, but you made him so much better and prepared to be able to step into his role as a freshman. And then you get to go out there and play summer ball and experience something incredible, which is all we can really ask for, man. The underlying theme here are the relationships that we all built in these summers, like all these guys that we played with. And it's so crazy how small the baseball circle is, because we all know a lot of these guys, whether they were in our league or another league or at a different school, which is amazing. But Shawshank, I know you've had some interesting experiences out there. I'm pretty sure you did throw left-handed in one of them. I don't know if I saw the video, but let it rip, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, so kind of I didn't have like the typical summer ball experiences that most have. Like, for example, after my freshman year at Lynn Benton Community College, I played for our Legion team, the Medford Mustangs, because you're still allowed to play Legion 1 year out of high school. And part of the reason why I wanted to do that is just because, I mean, we just had there's a lot of tradition and really competitive, and that's just kind of what guys did. And we lost in the state championship, but that wasn't a typical collegiate experience. After my sophomore year at Lynn Benton, I threw 1 million innings, and I kind of needed a summer to kind of do some rehab stuff and just regroup. So I didn't end up playing that year. That was the summer going into Nevada. And then after my junior year at Nevada, I pitched quite a bit, but the season didn't go kind of how I hoped. So getting out and playing in that summer was really important to me. And the opportunity arose for the Medford Rogues, which was in the West Coast League. I think it's in a different league now, maybe the Great West. But it was the first year the Medford Rogues existed. Obviously, that was an amazing summer. Ray was on that team. Jake was on that team. So that was a very exciting thing to come into a program that was brand new in my hometown where I grew up in Medford, Oregon. So again, it wasn't necessarily going and living with host families like a lot of guys do, which is a really good experience for guys to go through that. But I was living at home, and since I had been living away and I went away for college and stuff, it was actually kind of nice to be able to come home for a little bit. But playing on that team, and I think the very first lineup card in Medford Rogues history is still up in the press box, and I know Ray was in there. I think I was pitching. I don't know, Jake, were you playing that game?
Yep. Walk off pass ball.
I didn't think it would take long.
Oh, you want me to go? Okay.
Go ahead, lay it out for him.
I wasn't gonna say anything. But Ray Mack said it. So yeah, first strikeout in Medford Rogues history on the mound was myself, and the first strikeout at the plate in Medford Rogues history was Ray McIntyre.
The 9-hole hitter.
But it's all good because Ray was an all-star and he had a great summer. But no, it's funny. That was one of my favorite summers I've ever been a part of, and it was fun for me not just to be around a bunch of awesome guys, But also because I knew a lot of the guys coming into the team, like Jake Whistler and Parker Miles and stuff like that. I had familiar with those guys, have relationships with those guys. And then also kind of from my Nevada team, bringing Ray in there, I think Ryan Teal, and just guys from all over that I knew. And then obviously guys that we didn't know, just kind of coming in into kind of a melting pot of a team was awesome. And let's see, how did we, I pitched pretty well, pitched for the first kind of half of the season. And then my arm I was having issues with my arm and ended up stopping pitching. But the team I kept coming, and the team just kept getting better and like just kept having more and more fun. The identity of the team kind of took on after a couple of weeks. And kind of some guys left, and then it kind of got back to the original group, and then the original group took off. And just, man, guys were always hanging out with each other. It was just the traveling was a great experience. Just, talking baseball with other guys, just talking life, sharing experiences. And then that's cool when they go off and play in their schools, to be able to, hey, I know this guy and this guy from that team. And you always have the baseball world's very small, and you figure that out pretty quickly after playing summer ball. You end up getting connections from all over the place. But yeah, and kind of what you were saying, Bai, was my right arm after, I don't know if it was 5 or 6 starts, just kind of my elbow was kind of just, I ended up having to get surgery, but I stayed around, and I just started throwing left-handed because I taught myself how to throw left-handed when I was 10 or 11. So it kind of came in handy. And then eventually I just kept saying, hey, I'll get in a game if you guys need me, for a couple hitters. And I think we were playing like Bend, and it just, yeah, they put me in, and Nielsen caught. And yeah, I don't remember what happened. I think there was a fly ball to left. We had a pitcher out there, and he sausaged it. And then I think I walked a guy and I came out. But
Johnny Baseball.
Cool. Johnny
Right
Baseball.
Foresight.
But yeah, to pitch in a game left-handed in a collegiate level game is kind of a crazy thing. And when I tell people that, they're like, "You're kidding." But man, just goes to show all the summer ball, man, just experiences, the people you meet, the things that you kind of have more freedom. You learn to kind of learn your own routines, and you grow up a little bit. And it's just, we highly encourage our guys to go to summer ball, barring the fact they threw 100 innings, mostly just because of the life experience. So
really good point. Cam, do you have something to add on to that?
Not so much to add on. It was more just jumping off of what Ray shared. And Ray, I didn't know that, so thank you for sharing that. That was really cool how you wanted the accountability of being able to end things on your terms. And it put a thought in my mind. It's pretty rare that players will go to summer ball with that accountability already built in. And so that's one of the things that I think is really valuable about summer ball. Most coaches that go to summer ball are going to understand that it's about development. So regardless of how you're playing, you're going to be in the lineup more often than not. So it can be really beneficial to fail, and fail a lot in summer ball, because you're not going to get bailed out by your college coach during the season where it's about wins. If you get taken out of the lineup and put on the bench, you can always say, yeah, coach didn't let me get settled. It's not my fault. Well, in summer ball, there's no one there except you. And so if you're not performing, it's on you, because you're going to be in the lineup whether you want the 5 at bats or not. And so at that point, you're going to have the ability to make a decision. Is this something that I can work through, or is this just something that, you know what I mean, I'm going to have to be able to find something to blame it on. So I love summer ball for that ability to develop some toughness, or reveal that, we actually have some areas that we need to grow for sure.
No doubt. And how many times have you had that talk with your guys of, this guy was hitting 440 in the summer, completely went off, and then the lights come on in season, you're like, oh, well, here we go again, and it's like, hey, dude, it's the same game. Like, what made you good in the summer? Oh, well, I knew I was playing every day. Okay, well, then let's take that factor and the results out of it and see if we can get you to go back to just being you. That's all we want. So it's an interesting dynamic for sure.
Yeah, let's get into that coaching side, because now you guys obviously had some experience playing in summer ball, but you've got now more experience and moving forward even more of sending guys to summer ball and like the good and the bad. I know, Shaw, you mentioned we encourage our guys to go out there at BYU, because unless they threw 100 innings and they've just absolutely crushed it all year and their arms hanging, like, we want you to get out there and experience something new. And you've heard from 5 other coaches now who were all players at a high level at one point and are now high level coaches, that it was one of the best experiences of their lives. And the amount of relationships that you get to build in this time is amazing. So as coaches now, like from the coaching standpoint, what are you looking for when you're prospecting different leagues for your guys? Like, is there a certain league where you're like, I got to get my hitters in the West Coast League. I got to get my pitchers in the Cape Cod. I got to get them in the Northwoods. Like, what are you guys looking for as coaches? Or is it just, hey, if somebody's got a spot, let it rip. Let's get this guy some innings. Let's get him some time on the field. What are you guys kind of going into? We can start with Shaw.
Yeah, I think over time you kind of develop relationships with different summer ball coaches and people that you trust, so that you could send a guy into a good situation for them. Bottom line, most of the time you want them to just play, get a million at bats, pitch a bunch. Within, we'll send them with a plan. Hey, here's A, B, and C that we really want you to work on. Talk to the coaches a little bit about the roles deal, but ultimately we kind of send them and let them go a little bit. And it's one of the biggest factors is the thought for an 18, 19-year-old kid of going out to Massachusetts and living with a host family and playing and all the unknowns is very out of their comfort zone. So getting them out of their comfort zone is important, because they need to go through those life experiences to grow and learn how to become more comfortable out of their comfort zone. Because a lot of times those out of your comfort zone experiences are where the most growth occurs, and they'll come back after that summer and be like, man, it was awesome, best summer ever, met so many cool people, I learned so much about myself and just had a blast, and that's really all you're looking for. I think the biggest thing, I mean, they could talk more about the position player side, but my feel is that, there's guys that just need at bats, and you want to get them in the best competition you can get them in. Obviously you want them to play against really good guys, and being around really good players is very good for anybody. But just getting a bunch of at bats and going through their process over and over again, and failing and coming back the next time, and figuring out some stuff that has some success. It's just all things they're learning about themselves. And the only real way to do it is to go through it. And summer ball is the perfect opportunity. For pitchers, it's a little trickier because, if a guy threw 90 innings, was our number 3 starter, we're probably going to look at a little, hey, what's best for him? Okay, does he really need to go out and pitch, unless he's a Cape Cod guy that needs to go, show off for the scouts, which, obviously one of our main goals is to get guys to move on to the next level. So that's important, but it's mostly, hey, what's best for this guy? I mean, if he threw 10 innings, go throw 50 in the summer. So it's just going through that experience. It's giving him an opportunity to go through all those, the failing, the success, the fun, all of it. It's just, there's really no substitute for just playing a bunch, and especially against the best players you can play against and with.
Very true. Very true. I really like the theme of the failure and then the fun. And I want to get into that after Cam goes, of how do you incorporate failure and fun in the same sentence? that fires me up. I'm like, okay, I'm failing. Well, most kids are like, this sucks. I'm over this. I want to go home. I need to go to the beach. But then the fun aspect of being on the same team with so many awesome people from different areas is really cool. Cam, what do you got for me?
Aside from everything Shaw just said, which was right on, there's always one thing that we like to focus on, and not spending too much time on the relationship piece, just because that's very obvious and really important. We want to make sure that whoever's going to be responsible for our guys' development in the summer has an idea of what they're doing. They potentially come from a really good coaching tree, a good program, because a lot of the stories that we all have from summer ball that are fun to reflect on now can kind of give you some gray hairs as a coach, where you have pitchers that are hitting and shortstops that are throwing 40 innings, and those things are all great and fun to laugh about, but they're a little bit more stressful when you have significant contributors that are going to these leagues. The one other thing that we use it for as a Division III program is we use it to give our guys exposure for the professional draft. We had a kid who pitched in the Cape last summer. We have a handful that go to the Northwoods and West Coast League each year. A lot of our incoming guys and freshmen spend time in the New York Collegiate League. So we want them to be able to not just play amongst really talented players, but get some exposure in front of professional scouts as well. That's how we build it into the recruiting process. That's how we build it into the development of our program. And we've been really fortunate to have had some success with that over the last few years.
Yeah, no, you make a really good point with getting them exposure, because not all schools, I mean, some of our schools, some people don't even know like where it is or what it is or what it even looks like. Like, who would ever go there? Like, I don't know where that is. But that's a great point of like, hey, let's get our guys some exposure out there this summer and help them get seen and help their career, because obviously people first, right? But you want them to have an opportunity to go on to the next level if they're good enough to earn that. Wilkins, what do you got?
Shaw and Cam brought up great points with the relationships part and the MLB draft. And what I tell our guys, and Bai, you could attest to this, I want guys to get uncomfortable, and I want them to go on those long bus trips. I want them to be physically tired. I want them to get that experience, because in a college season, you have school, you have baseball every day, but you're not traveling, every week or every other week, and you're not going on 10-hour bus rides or 12-hour bus rides. And what I tell our guys is, if you want to play in the big leagues for 20 years, you're going to have to go through the minor leagues. And those bus rides I know, they're not fun, are they? They're not fun. You're going 14 hours, 16 hours. You're playing the next morning, so it's more about how bad do they want it in summer ball, and if they're able to adapt to that and get that exposure, so that way when they do get drafted at some point, and if they do, they're going to be ready right away in professional baseball. They've been through that experience. So that's another reason why I like sending our pitchers out. Obviously, Shaw brought up a great point. Innings, just get innings. That's how you try different pitches, new pitches. You get to work on mechanics a little bit, and you can fail because you're going to go out there again at some point and you're going to pitch. So that's another part that I really like. I like the strength and conditioning, lifting every day, getting tired and, seeing what you're made of, making you mentally tough. That's another aspect that I really like of it. So yeah, I thought Cam and Bradshaw brought up great points with that. That's kind of my viewpoint on that as well.
Beezy, are you the only guy that's played in the Northwoods out of all of us?
I never played in the Northwoods. No,
you didn't. Where did you play?
West Coast League my first year, and then Cape the next two.
What's the Cape summer? How many games?
It's a little shorter. It starts June 15th, at least when we were there, and ends like the first week of August, last week of July. It's a lot shorter, and it's the best league because the furthest trip was an hour and a half.
Yeah, tough deal. But you got Northwoods. That's the grindiest league out there. I mean, you're playing 72, and I love that Coach Hill will say that to our guys every once in a while when they look down or tired. You're like, hey, man, Northwoods, 72 games, 65 days or whatever it is. That's the all-star break, bro. Like, that's not even half the season in the big leagues. Like, we're
hey, real quick, does anyone in here have any experience with the Coastal Plains League? I've heard that's pretty comparable to the Northwoods, but I don't know much about it.
No.
Nothing, yeah. No insight on that at all.
I will after this summer. We have a couple guys going to Georgia. Yeah, that's the one on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like the Carolinas.
Yeah, in Georgia. Yeah. We have a couple guys going to that league, so I'll know a little bit more after this summer.
Okay. Yeah, keep us updated because I'm interested because I've always heard it was good, but I've never actually seen anybody or known anyone that's gone there. Ray, get into your hitters, and then we'll go with Wiss, and then I want to follow up on something that Wilkins mentioned.
Well, it's a little different for me when I'm talking with the position players. It's more reps, I think, than anything. That's why you want to send your solid younger guys, like really good after their freshman year guys, to the Northwoods for the most part, because they're going to get a ton of at bats. You know, you're pushing for them to get 150, 200 at bats in the summer. I mean, that's a lot. After that, for me, it doesn't matter a whole lot. The Alaskan League doesn't have as many games, so I don't really want to send position players up there too much because they're not going to get the reps. Young freshmen going to play for the Puff Caps has been good. I know that coaching staff does a really good job developing. They win a lot of games, and they're around a lot of really good young guys that freshman year. But other than that, I mean, we send guys out to the Hamptons. We send guys out to the New England Collegiate, the WCO. We have some guys, obviously, in the Cape and Northwoods as well, but even out to the Prospect League in Chicago. They kind of go everywhere. So it's more about getting them reps. Exposure is great, but more importantly than anything, it's getting the reps.
I like that a lot. Yeah, as a position player and going out to the summer balls, it was really good for me to get more reps and to fail. A lot of you guys mentioned the failure aspect. It was really good for me to see some failure and then experiencing some success in that season and like learning how to battle through it and knowing that, hey, well, you're going to be playing every day no matter how bad or good you do, and you got to figure it out. Like, we're going to help you. We're going to develop every day. And it's just like pro ball. Like, you're there, game say 5 o'clock game, you're there at 11 o'clock and you get your lift in either before or after. Like, it is the most similar thing to professional baseball. So if you're an athlete listening to this and you want to play professional baseball and you're sitting around on your couch right now, not doing anything, like, you should maybe consider playing summer baseball at some point in your career because it's probably going to help you get to where you want to go. Does that sound good? Cool. All right. Whistler, let it rip. I got some emotions behind it, dude. I'm tired of people saying, like, I hit up a kid, literally a kid for Whistler. I'm like, dude, I got this guy, like, he's interested. He's transferring out of a school this year. All this crazy stuff's happening. And he goes, yeah, I'm from Arizona. And coach, I really just don't want to leave Arizona. Like, I don't want to go here. Oh, so you're telling me you want to play Division I baseball. You're telling me you want to play at the next level. You're telling me you want to get drafted, but you're not willing to leave outside of Arizona. There's like 8 schools here, not 5,500 schools. Give me a break. That could be its own topic. I'm getting fired up. I'm done.
Good luck playing in the Arizona Collegiate League, bro.
It's like, come on, man. Like, trying to help you out here, and you're telling me, my slim picking. I don't want to leave the West Coast. Yeah. Okay, well then, good luck.
Well, also just a short add to that is like, guys don't want to go out of their comfort zone, and then also everything's able to be online too. So like, they're like, hey, I'm just gonna spend this summer at home. And I'm going to, like, get on the Rhapsody and, like, get my pitches all this, the right spin rate. And I'm going to get my swing good. But the bottom line is, like, guys could be lights out in the bullpen, but, like, then just can't translate it to the mound. So, like, summer ball is about taking your skills and using them in a game situation. It's getting a whole nother season under your belt. If you want to play professional baseball, then – you're playing from February all the way through November. So it's like, okay, at college, you're playing from February through July, August. So it's not even as long. So, hey, man, like, it's all good to get on the Rhapsody and we'll use that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But it's about translating all that stuff from the bullpen, because everyone could, execute a fastball away in the bullpen, but can you do it 3-2 with runners on second and third in the 7th, when there's a lot of things that you attach to it that could be, but yeah, that's the deal, man. It's not about how you look. It's not about, hey, my pitches are great, but are they great in a game? And the only way you can do it is play games.
Shaw, the reason why everyone wants to stay home is because they want to throw 90 miles per hour. They want to train. I can't stand that because everyone throws 90 miles per hour in Division I baseball. Like, it just drives me nuts. I can't stand it.
Well, you
can't stand it. Go out and pitch.
You heard what Coach Lon said last time. He was like, the world is full of guys that throw 95 that can't get in the game. There you go.
Real quick, though, I wanted to touch on what Cam and Bisha were talking about, if that's good with you guys. I think, Cam, absolutely. You got a great point on essentially sending your guys, your shortstop up there and him throwing on the mound and that kind of deal. This is kind of exactly where I wanted this to go, because I know that there's so much gray area when it comes to not only coaches sending their guys out, but in the same token, being a summer coach and understanding what the needs are of that player and that coaching staff that you're getting. Because obviously on our end as summer coaches, the goal should be obviously to develop, but you want to meet those needs of that coaching staff so that they keep sending you players and you build a relationship with those guys. I think that's a very important piece. And also, Wilksy, what you were talking about, that this is exactly it. If you guys want to play professional baseball, well, here's the model right here. Here's the model. Okay, you're getting on bus trips. You're playing every single day. Okay, it's not like the college ranks where you get the whole week off and you're only playing on weekends, man. It's a grind, no question about it. And you really find the guys, I think, that really love the game of baseball when you can throw them into a summer program. And I think it's very important to create those relationships with coaching staff so you really understand truly where you're sending a player and what they're going to get up there. And I know, being in Bellingham this will be my 5th summer, hopefully, knock on wood. We really want to create that environment for a player where, yes, you're going to come up here. Yes, you're going to get your reps. But at the same point in time, I want to get another small college guy in here who's going to compete with the guy from UCLA to really push him to a place that maybe he hasn't been before, And so, because especially in the West Coast League, a lot of the big school kids we get are incoming freshmen or redshirt freshmen or sophomores who really haven't had a lot of reps under their belt. And then in turn, you'll get the Division II, Division III NAIA junior college player, who has 3 full seasons under their belt already. And so I think a really big piece to that is weighing, and the challenge, which is why I keep going back to the West Coast League, because it's such a great challenge as a coach. The challenge is to weigh those players and to push them to be better. In my opinion, I think you still have to have that competitive environment for these guys. Yes, it is summer ball. Yes, you're allowed to find yourself as a player, to fail on your own, to learn the ups and downs. But we try to create a competitive environment in the same token. I love seeing a player from LC State come up and be on our team and completely push a kid from Cal, from Stanford, who is like, wow, why is this NAIA guy playing? What's going on here? It's like, yeah, man, this is what we're doing here. You got to earn your spot still. Are you going to get your reps? Absolutely, you're going to get in the game. But maybe he plays a 2 out of 3 of a series when you were playing 2 out of 3 of a series. So I think those points are so great. And I'm glad that it went down this road, because I think the importance of that piece of combining okay, we're sending my kid to a summer program and we know what he's going to get out of it. As far as he's going to play short, he's going to play second because he's an infielder. He's not going to get on the mound and throw. Pitchers, unless you're in dire straits and the guy has played two-way before, he's not going to hit. We're not going to throw him in there and get beamed by a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. That's not going to go on. And your pitch limits, your pitch counts, everyone's going to get innings, and you're going to spread those out so there's no arms that are blowing up. And then the same token, you're going on long bus trips. You're going in the weight room every morning. You're playing every single day. If you want professional baseball, here's your chance. This is your first taste of what a model looks like. So I'm glad that it's gone down this road, because it's a great challenge as a coach to be able to have to, weather those storms and adjust to those different kinds of situations you got to have.
Wes, just real quick to expand on what you said, you would think, because you're a really good coach, that all that should be obvious, but there are a lot of not so good coaches that are out in summer ball. For as many amazing coaches as there is, there's equal on the other side of the spectrum. And it's unfortunate, but it's just the way it is.
No question, man. We see it every summer. And that's the challenge for us too, is like, so our guys in Bellingham are looking in other dugouts and like, well, they get to do this, 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 and this. And I go, okay. What are you here for, man? You know what I'm saying? What did you come up here to do? You came up here to earn a spot back at University of Washington, to earn a spot at Chapman, to earn a spot at San Diego. Okay. All of that junk coming out of their dugout and everything they get to do, it's not helping them. They're not developing. And so it is, you're totally right. And you see it so often, and it's pretty sad.
Make an incredible point there, Whistler and Cam as well, like just about the competition aspect of what are you here for? Like in reality, you came to summer ball. Are we here to just play grab butt around here and just walk around and like not do anything? Or are we here to get better, man? And that's like, I think a big misconception with summer baseball is a lot of people think it's just something to go out and just, hey, let's just go have fun. Well, yeah, we're going to have fun. Like you're going to enjoy it. We're going to make this experience really memorable for you, which we'll get into in a minute. but you got to come out and earn a spot, because ultimately you want to go back into your fall season ready to go and prepared. As you as a coach, it's a reflection on you as a coach in the summer league that, hey, this guy keeps sending me guys back that they're not developing. Or maybe these guys are coming back so much better that I'm going to keep sending you my best guys, because I know you're going to help them get better over maybe going to a certain different league that's going to help my program. And as coaches now, like, wouldn't that, like, if you're a coach, obviously, Wes, like, you want your guys to go to play for somebody who's going to be on them and, like, at least create that competitive environment where they're actually going to improve, right?
No question. What I was going to say to you, Byler, that's what you say all the time, man. What's your why? Hey, that applies to every day, and no matter what you're doing. So, and especially summer ball for these younger kids. Why are you up here? Why are you up here? And it takes almost, some of them takes too long for them to understand that piece. And the ones that buy in from the first day, it's unbelievable the development that they get through. From, I mean, you can in a 2-month span, you can see a kid go from an average fringy player to, like, okay, this guy's a dude. Like, he's gonna go back there and he's gonna play a lot as a sophomore. We've seen those gains, and it's totally up to them to understand that piece early. What's your why? You're here to go back and earn a spot. You're here to go back and pitch 20 more innings. You're here to go back and be the second catcher behind the dish, because you got a senior coming back. You're battling for the second spot. You're battling to catch one game of series. Okay, well, let's figure out what our plan is to get to that point and achieve your why, essentially.
That's an amazing point, Wes. I love that you brought that up. Like, why are you doing what you do? Like, why do you show up to the yard? Why are you going out to a certain league? Why are you sacrificing your summer as an athlete, as a college kid, when you could be hanging out and doing your thing, and doing whatever you want to do to go play baseball and to get better and to come back more prepared than you've ever been? I know for me personally, from like a player standpoint, going out to the West Coast League for the first time my freshman summer, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I almost didn't do it because of that comfort zone that Shaw was talking about earlier. Like, gosh, we got to get guys out of their comfort zone, but nobody wants to get out of that comfort zone first. But for me, it was like, I was so nervous to go. But then once I went and met some people that, like, were so amazing and forever lifelong mentors and friends, it helped so much with my development to be able to get out and play every day and to actually compete and have great coaches who helped me. And then I learned the mental side of the game, and I didn't know anything about it before then. But then Aaron Nielsen, as all of us know, like, incredible human being, but he really pushed us physically and mentally and challenged me to be like, hey, look, like, these are some things that are going to help you get better, in a really, really positive light and good way, that are going to help you go back into next year more prepared. And then from that freshman year to sophomore year, the stats wise were unbelievable in my actual spring season back in Nevada. And, like, going from the fall season into the spring, it was like, boom, I'm ready to go physically, mentally, all aspects of the game. So that's a big point that you hit on. Shaw, were you going to add in there?
Oh, am I unmuted? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'll add in. Yeah. I think, well, the other thing is we talk about going out and working on your individual game and having fun and all those things. But a lot of what goes into placing guys is we want to send them somewhere where there's a premium on winning. I mean, I think guys that get out there to these summer programs, they learn pretty quickly that these are teams, these are businesses that are, they want to win games. There's 2,000, 3,000 fans in the stands. There's a record, there's a winner, there's playoffs, there's all these things. So it's stimulating, almost like a whole season again in a short amount of time. But I think, it's not just going out and just getting your work. I mean, you want to be a part of something where it's competition, where there's a premium on winning. And a lot of that is on the organization and the coaches to kind of drive that culture. And we like to send guys that have a culture like that. They want to be a part of a program where winning is important, because ultimately, I mean, hey, winning games is the most important thing. Getting guys better individually, it's all for the betterment of helping the team win games. So going to a competitive place is important, I think. And that's why we have a guy going to Bellingham, because we know they're going to be in a good environment where winning is important. So shout out Jake Whistler.
Hey, Wes, don't be afraid to make the kid run now for Shawshank's comments here. Like, come on, man. Don't be afraid to be a little hard on him.
Excited to have some Cougs up there this summer, man.
A 26-year-old freshman he's sending your way?
Believe it or not, no, he's an 18, just turned 18. Name's Carter Smith. Low 3/4 slot, 92, 94. A little erratic, but man, he's going to be good. And he'll work his butt off.
Pitching wizard, man. Jim Clem, Coach Clem up there. Unreal pitching guy.
Yeah, you'll love this guy. He works his butt off. He's awesome.
That should be fun. An erratic 3/4 guy that's low mid-9s. That should be fun for right-handed hitters.
I think he broke like 5 or 6 bats in the fall when we were hitting with wood. So
and a couple kneecaps too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
that's ridiculous. Shaw, how's it feel to get the best recruits in Utah every year?
Good.
Hey, that'll change. That'll change shortly. Don't worry about that.
Hey, Dixie's right behind you, baby.
Hey, I'm not going to get into that, Bye. We're trying to stir the pot, you know. Give the shout out to Brent Herring and Trent Pratt. They're the ones recruiting, but yeah,
they do a great job.
Well, let's get into as we wrap up here in the last probably 10 minutes or so, let's get into like favorite summer ball story. And obviously PG-ish, but like what are some of your favorite summer ball stories? Let's start with who wants to go off first? Ray? Cam? Go ahead, Cam.
I had one real quick, and this story relates more to coaching, and it was one of those light bulb moments. It's when I was up in Alaska with the Anchorage Bucks. We had a kid from Rice, and it was a situation, there was a runner on second, no outs. He was a left-handed hitter. So typically, as coaches, we would all assume he's probably trying to move the runner from second to third, hit a ground ball to the right side, fly ball to the right side, whatever the case may be. Well, in that at bat, he lined out to left field and made the out. The runner stayed at second. So when he came back in the dugout, we asked him, like, what are you doing? How come you didn't, try and move him over? And he said, what do you mean? He was genuinely confused. We said, well, in that situation, we need the runner to be moved from second to third. He's like, well, this was when Coach Graham was still at Rice. We said, Coach Graham doesn't want us to change our approach based on the situation. He always wants us to take our best swing on any pitch, regardless of when it is. He wants us to hit the ball hard every single time. And it was this explosion of like, oh my God, like that's something we've been told forever. With the runner on second, you got to get him to third. Well, in that situation, that's not what the belief of the program was. And it was just this moment of, there's all these things that we've been told as coaches and players, but does that mean they have to be true 100% of the time? Well, Rice has been pretty successful as a program, so maybe not. And it was just this moment of like, oh my gosh, all these things that I thought I knew, are they true? And so it was just this really cool experience that just came from this freshman at Rice.
I love that, man. I love that. And it's crazy how you can learn from all these other guys. You're like, whoa, what? Who would even think that way? Wilkins, what do you got?
Yeah. So mine's not really baseball related. We had a sewage drain in our dugout, and there were 4 salamanders in there. And we're all joking about, one of us eating them and doing all that. And one guy steps up. He's like, I'll eat one, but everyone has to pitch in at least $1. And we're like, only $1? There's like 20 of us huddled around, and some guys were offering $2. He's kind of hesitant going back and forth if he wanted to eat it. And he's like, all right, I'm going to do it. So he did it for like $25. He goes in the drain, picks up the tail, goes like this, puts it in his mouth, starts chewing on it. He's like, it's kind of crunchy. And after he ate the salamander, he's like, yeah, once I took that first bite, there was blood going all over my mouth and just crunching on the bones. Like, oh my God, I didn't need to know that, man. Like that was unbelievable. I'll never see that or hear that again. I couldn't believe that.
It's one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard. But hey, how much money did he come out with though? He probably got more money than he got paid in minor league baseball.
Yeah, he came out with like $25-$30 for one salamander, and we're trying to get him to eat another one, but he didn't want to do that. He felt sick. He played that night, and I'm surprised he didn't throw up or anything. He played that night. He actually did pretty well. So maybe it was the luck of eating a salamander.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he played well. If he's doing it again, you catch him in there the next day, just like swooping one more of those. Well, let's go Wiss, and you may have the same one as me, but I mean, I've got another idea too, but like we can both elaborate on one of our stories, but go ahead.
Yeah. Obviously got plenty of stories from summer ball because there's been so many great experiences. But just touching on the first one, it's a long story. I'll keep it as short as I can. Obviously with Coach Nielsen there that first summer in Klamath, starting 2-18. And I remember we showed up to the yard that day, and Hogan wanted us all to meet in the grandstands before the game started. And this is right when Hogan got there, because remember he didn't show up till late because the Ducks were in a regional, super regional. That's when they dropped the fly ball in left field against Kent State, and they lost the super regional to go to the World Series. But anyways, he shows up late, and so he's there for a couple games. Well, we're 2-18, and we're showing up to the yard. Everybody meet in the grandstands. And we're like, all right, what's going on here? Well, Nielsen's in the grandstands, who at this point I've gained quite a bit of respect for. You show up the first day and he's throwing BP and hitting fungo, and you're like, who's this guy? And then turns out to be one of the most inspirational people you'll ever meet. But he whips out All the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss, the book. So we're in this grandstands, and Nielsen's sitting down, and he starts reading us this book. And I'm looking around because I'm the hometown kid, and all these other guys are here from all these big schools, and you could just feel what the F is going on here kind of feel from all these guys. And he starts breaking this book down from the aspect of life and kind of where you were at as a human being and all of these different points. And by the time it was done, it was damn near tear shedding what was going on. People like searching their souls and confessing their sins. It was hilarious. It was unbelievable. And I'm not kidding you. We get done with this whole deal this day. We played Cowlitz that night, actually. We beat them that night, and then we won 20 games in a row after that day. And it wasn't because he read us the book, but it was because everybody completely changed their mentality and how they went about their business, what kind of teammates they were, what their effort was every single day, and what their attitude was. And it was absolutely spectacular. And obviously, Byler, you can attest to it, but I completely changed the way I looked at the game of baseball from that day on. Yeah, and just amazing. I mean, I got a couple more stories I'll touch on, but yeah, you take it over from there. But it was unbelievable. Obviously, the next summer with Medford being the first expansion team to make the postseason, another great, amazing experience that was. Having Ray Mack and Colin Sowers and Bishaw, Parker down to our last crew. I mean, we had 9 position players, I think, and we're going up against the Knights, who've got their entire team still. What a great dogfight that was. But just amazing experiences through summer ball and that deal. But yeah, just to touch on those two, unbelievable.
Dude, all the places you'll go is so random and so weird that it was amazing. And as if you know Nielsen, that it's always going to be something spontaneous and just totally out of the blue that makes so much sense after it happens. And everybody was like hugging each other, all like emotional, or like, oh my gosh, like really questioning, why do we play the game? Like, what is the reason of the summer ball? And it was incredible to see the unity after that. I mean, we had a few guys who were big pieces to the team come up there after that too, which helped. But that book, who knew that a Dr. Seuss book can literally spark a 20-game win streak in a summer ball team, which was looking like this is going to be the worst summer of all of our lives.
Ever. Yeah. Well, and to prove a point, Parker breaks the walks record that summer. This is hilarious. It's like Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, slingshot engaged. I broke the sacrifice bunt record. I sacked 13 times. I hit second. Parker walked 52 times. I bunted 13 times. And then you and Josh Wong, Foot Wong, were battled. You guys won the Triple Crown combined. Like one of you had home runs and RBIs, and the other one had average, or however you guys battled. It was like Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris, the movie 61 between you two. Just like, what happened? And then you had Eshelman and Mitch Merton and all these dudes, big leaguers on the mound. They're like, who's this kid? Oh, wait, he's 95 and just striking people out left and right. It was like, What happened?
Yeah, let's touch on that. Eshelman, by the way, walked one guy that summer in however many innings, and it was a 2 breaking ball.
Well, he sat the whole first half of the summer, and we were like, who is this guy? Is he going to pitch or what's going on? And then his first outing, he gets up on the mound. He struck out. I think he struck everyone out. I think he got all 27 outs, struck everyone out.
Dude, he goes 20 innings that summer, 1 walk, and then the next year gets like 1 walk in a college season or something unbelievable like that, like whatever it was. Or no, he didn't walk anybody in the summer.
Yeah, he threw like 110 innings and walked like 4 guys. Like it was something in his college season for Fullerton. It was something absolutely ridiculous like that. Like look it up. But like, yeah, that's all.
He definitely walked 1 because I remember Hoagie talking to us about it and going, God, I probably ruined his career. Like I called a 3-2 breaking ball. Like it's my fault. It was probably a strike anyways, but still. You know?
Was Yardley on that team?
Yeah, Yardley was on that team, dude. Had no business playing at the next level.
Big leaguer now. Yeah.
Dude, unbelievable
Nasty.
human being. Like just the amount of people that you get to play with, so cool.
Can I throw a quick question out that Ray just put into my head? It's just for the pitchers in here. You just shared a story, Ray, about a coach calling pitches in summer ball. Pitching coaches, do you have any thoughts on that, of letting catchers or pitchers call their games versus pitching coaches doing that in summer ball?
Oh, this is for us. So no, not really. I mean, I think it's more for I mean, ultimately the pitcher's responsible for the pitch he's throwing no matter what. So I mean, they could always shake, but I think it's more for the catchers to be able to get a feel for how to call a game. And I think that just kind of depends on the program. Obviously in the college season, we're probably not going to let the catchers call it because they're not putting in the hours and hours and hours watching scouting and understanding every hitter. And if they did that, then they probably would have more leeway. But I don't really have a strong opinion in summer ball about a coach calling it or a catcher. Because ultimately, I mean, in my opinion, they need to know that whatever pitch they're throwing, they're responsible for, and they're allowed to shake if they want. But I think for me, it's almost a little more for the catcher if it would benefit a catcher to learn how to call a game. So.
Yeah, and my 1 year of coaching in the summer, I coached up in Alaska. I would allow the catchers to call the game, and I wanted them to learn how to call a game. And I'd kind of go over, every inning, like, hey man, like, why did you call this pitch? Or, what is our pitcher's strength? Why aren't you going to our pitcher's strengths? So I allow complete freedom, with that in summer ball. Just different things like that. I think it's really important. What, am I lagging right now?
Yeah, we didn't hear any.
Oh my God. Of course.
Or at least I didn't.
I didn't hear a thing either.
That's great. Let's great. See. I have bad Wi-Fi.
Well, you can.
San Diego, man.
The bandwidth is low.
Yeah.
Am I lagging too? No, I'm fine. San Diego.
You're good. Yeah, you're good.
San Diego. No.
Oh, there he goes. He's back.
Well, Ray, get in. Go ahead and get in your story, whatever you got for us.
Yeah, hold on. Let me let's see if we can share the screen. Can you guys see this?
Yes, sir.
There it is.
Is that Ray 34?
That's me, Jake Wiss, right here. That was that walk-off he was talking about. And the funny thing about that, this isn't my story, but I was at the plate. I think it was like 2-2 count. Fallon pitch going, please throw a ball here. I don't want to be the guy that's going to not only strike out for the first time in Rogues history, but strike out in a big situation opening night, But no, going with that, Wiz said we finished our season up in Cowlitz, or not Cowlitz, Corvallis. We ended up, it was a back and forth those last 4 or 5 games for us to even get into the playoffs. I think we went to Bend, to watch them choke a game away that put us into the postseason. So like there's about 5 or 6 of us rooting against them at home. But yeah, we get into the postseason. We lost game 1. I get hit in like the ninth inning, and we start rallying back to play for another game, basically. And Colin Sowers and myself had already been pulled off the field, like at our last home game. They called a timeout to pull us off, which was awesome. So like we were satisfied, but it comes back in the ninth inning. It comes back. I'm on deck, 2 outs. Spencer Smith's up. Spence, who played at Lane in Oregon, and he grounds out. So I end my career on deck, which is just typical for my career. But he rolls over to shortstop, and I've never seen anybody run this hard to first base. And he comes up to me after the game, and he's crying, like in tears, and he's like, "I'm sorry." And I said, "Why are you sorry?" He's like, "I just wanted to get you one more at bat." And for me, like that was the most ultimate, like selfless, coolest thing I'd ever seen out of a guy that, I mean, I'd met 2.5 months before, had no business needing to play for me. It's the summer. He doesn't need to blow a hammy out, just trying to leg one out. But to see somebody do that for me, even if it didn't work out, just knowing that he wanted that for me was really, really awesome. And for sure, one of the coolest moments in my entire career, done alone, just the summer as well.
Incredible. And he's such a great person too. And like we're obviously sending our best to him wherever he's at now. I know he's doing big things, and haven't been able to talk with him lately, but it's just incredible. The selflessness and the relationships that you build over these summers, that those relationships last forever. Now that memory is going to last forever when you ton your kids, your grandkids, the kids that you coach eventually. And when you're a head coach, hopefully soon, it's going to be happening too. You're gonna be like, dude, look, this is selflessness. This is why you go out there and you play the game, you compete, like Whistler was mentioning early. Shaw, go ahead and share yours, and then I'll close the deal.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of did earlier. I shared a little bit. But yeah, just touching on what Ray said with Spence, I mean, that was one of the coolest things I've seen. And it just kind of, we've been talking about leadership a lot, and I think that's a great example, both of those guys. But I think there was one point, man, it's you could really, if you really sit and think for a long time, you could think of so many different examples. But I think one thing that's just kind of coming to my head right now is I remember there was a moment when I was kind of standing on the mound, and I looked back, and I got Ray Mack out there. I got Jake Whistler. I think Parker Miles was at third. So it was like, I was like, this is the best infield I've ever had behind me in my life. So like, I'm going to let them hit this. But I just remember seeing those dudes in the infield. I remember Colin Sowers was in center, I think. And Colin was like, he played at University of Portland. I grew up with him. He's pretty much one of my best friends since kindergarten, but always like just the best dude, the best athlete at everything. But like he's in center. I got that infield. Byler should have been there. He was supposed to go to Medford, so he should have been at first, but he wasn't. So, and then
had to throw. And then
I think Seth, I think Seth Brown was in the dugout, and like just I'm like, dude, this is like I mean, I got some of my best friends for life behind me. Like, what could be better right now? And like, I don't know. I remember I pitched pretty good, and I think a lot of it was just because I just had such a confidence in the guys behind me, and it was just a blast. So I just remember there was a moment where I just like got the ball back, turned around, and just saw all those guys. I got one of my best childhood friends. I got a guy I played with in baseball since age 7, 8, and Jake Whistler. Got Ray Mack, just all these awesome people, and I just thought that was a cool moment.
Amazing, man. It's absolutely amazing. And that's a solid lineup of dudes right there. I love this. This fires me up because it brings me back to all these memories back in summer balls and just things I never even thought of. I haven't thought of for years. It just pops back into my head. I think for me, I had 2 quick ones. One, first and foremost, like winning a Cape Cod League championship was probably the coolest thing that's ever happened. That was freaking awesome. And going up there halfway through the season, getting to play with a bunch of guys who are now in the big leagues who I had originally come from Nevada, smaller D1, like West Coast, really far away. Didn't think that there was any chance that I'd even play, and got to contribute a lot that year and get to play on a team like that with some studs on that team was awesome. So being able to hold up a championship trophy, really cool. But the main one, I get out to the Cape Cod my first year, and I'm so nervous. You have no idea what to expect. It's so far away. I've never been out to Boston before. I'm like, all right, we'll see what happens. I hear about the mythical Cape Cod League, and I get out there, and Coach Roberts, Mike Roberts, is my coach. He's been around for 50, 60 years. The dude's been a freaking goat, coach in North Carolina. He's done all these awesome things. I got the greatest resume in the world, right? And we get out there, and we get out to the line, and we're just playing catch, trying to warm up. And he's like, hold the balls. We're like, what the heck's going on? Like, why? Hold the balls. And he brings out another bucket of balls, and they're all half colored with black. So half of them are white. The other half are like hand sharpied in with a freaking Sharpie on there, black, pitch black. Like, you're going to learn how to throw a four seam today. And we're like, wait, what? Timeout. We're in the Cape Cod League. There's 80 scouts back there and GMs from all these teams. You're telling me I got to learn how to throw a four-seam ball now? Give me a break, dude. No way. So I'm out there. We're like throwing this four-seam ball. Everybody's like just bashing it, and we're mother effing it. We have no idea where the ball's going, and they're spinning every which way. And he's like, we're going to learn. We're going to learn. So we started to do that every day, which was unbelievable, but I think it helped. And then we get into our infield. We do our infield practice, which just was we did more in that summer with Katuitt than we did in Pro Bowl ever. We were out there like 9 a.m. And so he's got us doing all these crazy drills and base running stuff. We're like, dude, when are we getting to hit? So we finally get to go hit, and he tells us to grab our bats, and we're pumped because it's BP time, music's on, like we're ready to go. There's all the scouts. We're like, gosh, I'm going to put so many balls out of the yard. And he brings everybody in, and the pitchers, they go do their thing, and there's nobody in the outfield. And we're like, what the heck? There's only 4 infielders. And so our whole 45-minute BP, we learned how to handle the bat, and we had to swing without our legs and just use our hands and play pepper with each position. So you had to go to third, short, second, first, pitcher, back around if you did well. And you had to hit it decently hard on the ground. If you hit anything in the air, you get yanked. And so we're like trying to pop it, and people are just getting pissed. Like, you got guys from Rice, you got guys from all these big schools, like donkeys, right? And they're trying to just tap the baseball. And so finally you get this catcher that comes up and he's like, screw this. Like, I'm getting my money's worth, dude. First swing, like little whack down at third base, next swing, whack to short, third swing, dong, left center, fourth, like, and he just drops the balls, and he's like, what the and just goes off on the guy, dude. And it was just absolutely hilarious because you got all these guys who are like big league talent, right? Like, if you're not out there, you already know how it is. And we're sitting here like just trying to control the bat, like rotate the hips. That's it. You got to rotate the hips, and there's no legs involved. Like, you don't move your feet, don't move anything, just move the hands in and out. And he's like showing us how to do it with his bat. It was insane. But that for me was probably one of the funniest stories, other than going 2-18 and winning 20 games in a row and all these other crazy stories. But yeah, you get out to the Cape Cod League expecting to get signed, and then you don't even get to let your talent rip. I'm a power hitter. I'm not a freaking contact hitter, man. Come on. So those were the best.
We know you didn't make contact too often.
All right. Hey, the bash sesh, the roast sesh is next week, not this week. Come on. Well, this was awesome, guys. Now, thanks for sharing your stories, and thanks for just providing some insights on summer ball and why it's important. Once again, we send our best to all the host families out there who are doing their thing and making all of this happen. I mean, all these little towns are so amazing, and you get to experience so many cool things in baseball by going out to these different places as coaches, as athletes in general, but the host families make the difference. I mean, they provide the opportunity for us to come in, eat their food, hang out with their family, meet their kids, live in their house. Like, it's unbelievable what they do for all of us, coaches and athletes. So we send our best to them. And once again, thanks guys for sharing your stories and hopping on again for another episode of the Dugout Coalition. This was awesome. Hopefully somebody gained some insight out there.
Quick shout out to Nicole for bringing me cookies while she's working. So huge.